Hey friends, it's Judy Klock here, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Middletown, Virginia. And I am coming to you tonight for my last little tutorial regarding embossing. And tonight we're going to work with heat embossing. It's one of my favorite techniques, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways to kind of use heat embossing to take your cards up to sort of the next level. Wow, that glare is really bad behind me. Gotta buy those new lampshades. Anyway, tonight we're going to do just a couple of things. We're just going to do some straight heat embossing. But how classic is that? Just a classic black and white card with that little bit of heat embossing in the with the white embossing powder. Just really, it's simple but elegant. And this is that new mini corrugated embossing folder that will be available in March. Can you see it? I really like it. So that's coming out in March. It's an online exclusive. Then I'm going to show you how to emboss in any color. So here I stamped it with pecan pie. It's hard to see. And then I put clear embossing powder on it. If you look at his eyeball, you can see it a little bit better. And then we just kind of embossed it so the dog just kind of has that raised feel, if you can feel it. It doesn't really show well on camera, but hopefully you'll be able to see it a little bit better. And then we've got kind of a fun technique where you want to spotlight one item. So you'll notice, I don't know if you could see it, but the cake is die cut, and then I embossed that with clear embossing powder to kind of make that little particular image really pop. So let's go ahead and get started. So for our first one, we're just going to use our basic, just our Versamark with some basic white embossing powder. So I'm using a stamp set. It's called One More Year. This is one of the new ones. It's in the mini catalog, I think. It's just kind of a fun one. I like the dog and the wine and cheese. Excuse me. My shepherd got me up at 4:30 this morning because she had to go out. So I'm like really tired right about now. 7:30 here on the East Coast. I've been up for 15 hours straight, running around and doing things. So I'm a little tired. All right. So we're going to take our Versamark stamp set. So if I yawn, please forgive me. I'll try not to, but it's like power suggestion. As soon as you suggest, that you're not going to do the Y word, it happens. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this. And I'm going to bring it. I've got my white embossing powder. And I actually like doing white heat embossing better than using the white craft ink. I just never have good luck with that ink. So if I need to do something in white, I just go right to heat embossing and white embossing powder. Okay. Now I have a little brush here. I did have a little brush here that I just kind of keep because sometimes, and I also have the Embossing Editions toolkit, which this brush is part of, but I just kind of wanted to keep my embossing powders in like a bigger case rather than trying to put them into that little jar, back in that little jar every time. So that is why I have these big ones. Okay. So now we're going to let my heat tool kind of heat up for a minute. And I've learned the heat tool gets really hot. So you want to hold it with not your fingers. This is a reverse tweezer. This is part of my Cricut tools, but you can buy them really at any craft store. Michael's has them. Amazon, of course, has everything. All right. Now you'll start to see when it gets set, it will start to become shiny. So I don't know if you could see that on camera, but it is starting to become shiny. Okay. And I forgot to rub my anti-static bag on this, and that's why I have so much extra. I got so busy talking and I forgot to rub it. We'll do it for our sentiment. So I've got here, I'm going to take my little, this is my embossing, but I just kind of rub this over the cardstock to hopefully take off some of the static. And then we've got, nope, that's the dog ears one. We want your aging fine, like cheese and wine. Okay, I'm going to just do the same thing. We're going to stamp it in our Versamark. If you ever want to do just some tone on tone stamping, Versamark is also very good for doing tone on tone stamping, because when it dries the same color as the cardstock. So, okay. Now I've got my big old thumbprint. See, your fingers have oils in them, and they will also like leave like oils for the embossing powder to cling to. So again, I'm just kind of being very careful with my brush. Just kind of brush off some of that excess. And I realize I'm not on the screen. Just trying to brush off some of that excess powder that's on there. So I had like a big old fingerprint up here, and I had powder on there. All right, so once again, I'm just gonna, and I always kind of make sure I close it up, because I don't want I don't want to go all over the place when I have the heat tool, but I also don't want it to set in my plastic case. So I always kind of close it. Okay. So again, we're just going to, oh, it's on low. We put it on high. But you definitely don't want to hold the paper with your fingers, because this heat gun gets very hot and you will burn your fingers. Okay. That looks good. Once it's all shiny, it's done. Doesn't really take long, but once it's shiny, that means the powder is set and we are good to go. All right, let's assemble our card. So I will have all the measurements on my blog as always. So this is, I've already embossed this. So this is again with the dry embossing folder. This is the mini corrugated 3D embossing folder. This will be available for purchase in March. Right now, it's just on pre-order. It's one of our brand new online exclusives. And I do love embossing folders, so of course I had to get it. So my card base is a piece of thick basic white. It's 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. My black layer, my basic black layer, is 5 1/4 by 4, and I embossed it with the mini corrugated 3D embossing folder. I just really like this. Then I have a piece of basic white. It's 3 by 3, and we're going to add our little embossed piece to it. It's like, I know I put my Stampin' Seal someplace right where I could see it, like right where I could see it. It's the brand. I just reloaded it, so got to get it started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this right on here. And again, I know I need a new blade in my trimmer too. My blade's a little, there we go. All right, we're going to put this on with dimensionals, but let's go ahead and mount this one. We're going to mount this on, and I forget, this is 2.5 by 1.5, or rewind. 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. So this is 2.5 by 1.5. And again, I will have all these measurements up on the corresponding blog post. Just a reminder, tomorrow is the last day for celebration freebies. So if there is something that you've had your eye on, now is the time to go ahead and grab it. Otherwise, it will be gone forever. All right, I'm going to throw some dimensionals on the back of these two pieces. Okay. And oops, it's getting stuck on me. Okay. I just love like black and white and navy and white. I think those are just such classic combinations. I don't think you can ever go wrong when you use those two combinations, no matter what you have. So if you are just getting started and you don't have a lot, just go with black and white and blue and white, and you'll be making cards. You'll be cranking them out in no time, because it's just such a classic pairing. Okay. June 5th, like she's in mind. And that is our first one, just using our basic heat embossing with a Versamark ink pad and some embossing powder. So that's our standard typical heat embossing. Now let's take it up a notch and let's go with a colored embossing. So for this, I've got a piece of our basic beige. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. You know the measurements. I've got a piece of pecan pie that is 5.25 by 4. And I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of basic white on the inside. I just didn't have time to cut it. I kind of ran out of time. And this piece, I believe I cut this to 3.25 by 3.25 because I want to tear the ends, because I was trying to go for like a vintage old timey look. So I guess like a sepia photograph, even though that little puppy is kind of more modern. I was trying to go for like that vintage sepia tone. Sepia, I'm not sure of the correct pronunciation, but you know what I mean. Those old like brown and white photographs. Okay, so we've got that. Now this one, we need to be quick. So I'm going to sort of get my clear embossing powder ready, because it's not a problem, but like Versamark is a sticky ink, so it will stay wet longer. When we're using our classic Stampin' Up pads, they tend to dry quicker, so you got to be quick. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take this cute little dog. I see like a pug. I don't know. Kind of thing. He's giving me like pug-like vibes. All right, I want to, first of all, seems like I got some powder on it. I'm going to, again, run my little embossing buddy. Why is my camera so off today? There we go. I think it moved. I had to check it, and I think I moved it. Okay. I'm going to stamp him, and then I'm going to really quickly kind of put him in the powder. Now, when he comes out, you'll notice the brown looks very dull, right? It looks kind of dull. So I'm going to, again, just want to close this up. Okay. Dimensional backings, they're everywhere. All right, and then we're going to come over here, and we are going to do the same thing. I'm going to let that get warm. And then we are just going to, I forgot to hold it with my tweezers, and my fingers are burning. So you'll see it. You'll see the brown. It will start to get less dusty looking as it heats and as it sets. There is a stamp set. I think it's called like Greatest Adventure. It's got the train to it. That would be a fantastic set to use with this technique. All right, and then again, I wanted to add some color to the edges. So I took a dauber, and I'm just gonna kind of rub some of this pecan pie ink over my torn edges to kind of give this a little bit more color and some of that more vintagey feel. Is that a word, vintagey? Can I use that word? So that's the new baby. Sheila's asking me how the new baby is. We have a new foster puppy. She is very cute. She's 8 weeks old. She is available for adoption through Canines and Kitties. She is a Great Pyrenees, definitely a Great Pyrenees. And we think she's a treeing Walker coonhound. She's some kind of coonhound. I do love black and white together too, Sheila. So she's adorable. She has like a little heart-shaped mark on the top of her head. She's just too cute for words, but she's a puppy, so she's very active. So she was not the one who got me up at 4:30 today. That would be my like 8-year-old shepherd. She's not feeling well, so she's having some digestive issues, shall we say. Okay, so I'm going to stamp right on my pecan pie, and I'm going to say your how. Oh, that's crooked. Let's flip it over. Let me see if I can make it a little bit straighter. Not that it matters, but let's try. That's a little bit better. I think it's on my block. Of crooked, or maybe my head is crooked. I don't know. Could be any one of the above, right? All right, let's go ahead and put this on. And again, I'm not really embellishing these tonight, but you can go ahead and embellish them, add ribbons and gems and whatever else you want. I'm just kind of keeping this simple. I feel like I've got a ton of powder on my desk. We're going to clean that off before we go on to our next card. And then I'm just going to pop this up on some dimensionals. And that is our next card. So really, with this technique, you could use any one of our 50 colors. Just make sure you get that clear embossing powder on there while the ink is still wet. And you can emboss in any color that you want to emboss in. What do you think, Sheila? Should I send this to Patty for her birthday? Patty's our mutual friend and another dog lover. Sheila has a very adorable dog, too. Not that there's anything wrong with cats. Cats are great, too. We just happen to be a dog family. My friend Natalie just got a new cat, little Sully, and she sent me some pictures, and he's very, very cute. So we give equal time to our cats, too. So I can't wait to go over and maybe play with Sully one day. All right, let me just dry this off because I just felt like I had a ton of that powder on my surface. So I wanted to make sure that I got it off. All right, so let's go on to our third card. So for this one, I am going to stamp. Pull this up. I'm going to stamp one of these cake images. Now, this is from the Attention Shoppers stamp sets. We're using two different stamp sets tonight. We have Attention Shoppers. Our first one was One More Year, and now we're going into Attention Shoppers. So I want to stamp my cake image on my basic white. I'm going to use our memento. All right, and I'm going to color it real quick. All right, so I think I used like my peach pie blends, and I do apologize that I am not on camera all the time. I'm trying, but sometimes I forget. All right, I'm going to use Summer Splash and Pretty in Pink. I'm going to use the light colors, I think. Is that, yeah. All right, so I think I want to go here. Okay, and then here. I'm just going to do like, top and bottom in pink and the middle in Summer Splash, and then the top and bottom in Summer Splash on the top layer. And that's the beauty, is that you can make it anything you want. Because you know why? Because it's your creation. All right. So this is now Summer Splash. This is one of the new in colors. We get to see the new in colors when we go to On Stage in March. And I'm very excited. Anybody have any guesses as to what they might be, or anything that you would like to see? I don't know. We have so many greens and blues. I would like to see maybe, I don't know, maybe more of a different kind of orange. We don't really have a lot of oranges. So I don't know, maybe something orange or a really, really bright yellow. Remember when we had, like, what was it, Pineapple Punch? That was a great yellow. But we haven't seen that one in a while. That was another in color. Okay. So now this is what happens. I literally just had this stamp set. Okay, because I need the die. Because we're going to die cut that cake. Okay. I'm going to bring up the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Off screen. Yeah, I know, Sheila. I'm trying very hard to stay on screen. Sometimes you think you have all this area and you don't. So I do apologize for that. All right, let me do this. Now, here's a little trick. If you have this 3M tape, it's like Post-it tape. You can use that to kind of hold your die in place once you get down, especially because there's no magnetic sheet for the mini. So that's a good way to kind of hold that in place. All right. My mini was giving me fits the other day. I was working on something and it wasn't cooperating, but it's working tonight. So that's good. All right. I'm just going to put this off to the side for now so I don't forget it. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our Versamark ink pad. This is the one I want. And I'm going to, like that, kind of put this whole piece right on the Versamark ink pad. Okay, I'm going to open that up. I'm going to use our clear embossing powder. Right. Got my little reverse tweezer here. Okay, now I'm going to just cover this whole thing in embossing powder. Make sure I get that little candle too. Okay, I'm going to tap off the excess right now. I'm going to close that up. All right, we're going to let this heat set. And you'll see it'll start to get shiny again. So you'll see it. Oop, see it? Oh, it's looking shiny. Isn't that cool? All right, we're going to give this, I'm going to let that cool off for just a minute. Okay. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to put it down again. Tap it in my ink pad. Okay. Pick it up. And we're going to repeat that process. So I'm going to get the embossing powder on there. Okay. All right. Okay. Do it again. Heat it up again. See, when you can see it turn, you can start seeing it starting to turn. So now if you wanted, you could do it a third time. I'm just going to do it twice. It just depends upon how thick you want that to be. And now we're going to use that on a card. Let's get that out of the way. Let me bring this up. Okay, so I've got a base here that is Summer Splash. I've embossed a layer. This is that Soft Waves embossing folder. This is part of the, I think it's like the Friends of the Ocean suite. I'm not really sure. It's in the mini catalog. It's the one with like the crabs and the lobsters. I'm not big into like ocean things and fish things. So, but I did like the embossing folder. So I grabbed that. Now I die cut the shopping cart out of smoky slate, and I put the adhesive sheets on the back because, especially for this thing, I mean, there's no way you're going to get glue on that and not get the glue on everything else. So I put these, I'll tell you why I put the wheels on first, because that is sort of the marker for where I'm going to put everything else, because I want all of my items, my bottle, my plant, and my cake to be in the shopping basket. So if I know that sort of the bottom of the basket is going to be there, I can come back in and stamp my plant and my bottle and color those, because we're going to add that cake. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but that will definitely be within my shopping cart. So I kind of put those wheels, the bottom of the cart down there is like an anchor or a marker, so I know where I wanted to put the rest of my items. All right, so I'm just going to color these in real quick. I have some, I believe I have light shamrock, shy shamrock, and we're going to color in the leaves on our plant. We're going to color in the majority of our bottle. Okay. I really love these alcohol markers. The more I use them, the more I really like them. They're very easy to use and they really do cover well. So if you haven't tried them, give them a try. Don't, because I'm not really an artist. Let me tell you that for sure. I'm not an artist. But I do like these. I feel like these are idiot proof, that really anybody can use them and really get a nice look with them. Because I'm like, wow, that didn't come out half bad. And for sure, I am not an artist. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. All right, this is on copper clay. This is one of our in colors that's going away this year. This is the 2023-2025. So this one will be retired when the new catalog comes out in May. So, but this is a good color. I do like this one. Although I guess now we have pecan pie. So, that would be kind of the same thing. I wanted to put that pink strip in there just because I could. I'm going to color this part of the label in pink. Okay. And then I believe I did this part of the label in dark Summer Splash. And again, you can do these in any colors you want. There's really no rhyme or reason. Then I'm going to come back in here with our supery dupery shiny cake. And we're going to add that with our Stampin' Seal. And I just kind of put this in between the two of them. Okay, and then we've got our wagon somewhere that I die cut. Try to find it. And again, my little Cricut weeding tool, because sometimes I can't always find my take your pick tool. They're down here somewhere. My husband borrows them sometimes when he's working on his models. They don't always come back to my desk. So sometimes I just grab whatever I can grab. All right, so we've got that. And then we had another little piece of white that I can't find now. I had a little piece of white for our sentiment. Well, let's go ahead and we'll finish this up for now. I'm going to add this. Okay. Do you ever feel like you're just losing complete control over everything? That is me tonight. Although I will say, when I came down here about 5:30, I had a vague idea of what I wanted to do. And that was about it. Because obviously with the new puppy, the house is just sort of topsy-turvy. Schedules are off. The other one's sick. It's been crazy. So I didn't have a chance to really plan for tonight yesterday like I had wanted. So I came down and I'm like, I need to prepare my 3 cards. So between like 5:30 and 7:15, I banged out the 3 cards. So, all right. Now I need a piece of basic white that I did have over here, but that has decided to leave my desk for parts unknown. But never fear, I have a bazillion scraps right over here. And I am going to grab one of those scraps. And I am going to stamp Treat Yourself in our smoky slate. So I wanted to kind of match the cart, our shopping cart. Now, I am going to fussy cut this. And if anybody knows me, you know how I feel about fussy cutting. I don't like doing it because I don't do it well. There's definitely an art to it. And that is clearly not where I excel. So I'm just going to try. I'm going to do a very rough job of just kind of cutting this out, not really going up and down all the grooves, just a little bit of them, but you'll get the idea. But this is, and I know everybody always says you twist the paper, not the scissors, yes, I know all that. I still think, not to insult 5-year-olds, but it looks like a 5-year-old did the fussy cutting. So anybody else with me? Who else do you like? Let me know. Do you like to fussy cut or do you not like to fussy cut? What's the, What drink is green? Patty's birthday's in May. What drink is green? Well, like a wine bottle. A wine bottle could be green. Or maybe it's I don't know, some green energy drink. Mountain Dew is kind of like a yellowish green. But I'm going that it's a wine bottle and there's delicious wine in there. And wine bottles can be green and brown and white and clear. And so it's my story and I'm sticking to it, Sheila. All right, so now we've got that. Let's go ahead and add this with some dimensionals. Okay. And I can let you know her exact birthday later, Sheila. Like I'll send you a message if you want, but I know it's in May. Okay. There is that. I'm going to add this on some dimensionals. So, and if anybody wants to adopt Tegan, our foster puppy, fill out an application with Canines and Kitties Rescue, or caninesandkittiesrescue.org, and she will be available. I think we're doing an adoption event Sunday, March 9th at the PetSmart in like over by South Springs, like Aldi, Arcola area off of 50. And this one I am going to add just a little bit of baker's twine. I thought, why not? Wanted to just jazz this one up just a tad. So I'm just going to kind of cut this. I'm going to get a glue dot. And look at my desk is like a mess. And the off screen, you cannot see the disaster that is my workshop. I have various projects for Creativity in Bloom in various stages of completion. Creativity in Bloom is the 2-day retreat Patty, Wendy, and I are hosting in March, at the end of March. So I have like my swaps for on stage. I've got projects for Creativity in Bloom. I've got this stuff. I'm just a complete and total mess. So I'm going to grab a glue dot. Just a little glue dot. We're going to add that little glue dot right to the center of our twine. And we're going to add that right to our card. And that is our last card for the evening. So we kind of learned how to add clear embossing powder to a die cut piece that we've colored to make it shiny and kind of stand out. We've learned how to emboss in any color by very quickly getting that clear embossing powder over our image that we inked up with our classic Stampin' Pads. And then we just did some standard heat stamping with just the Versamark and the embossing powder. So I hope that you found this helpful tonight. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thanks, Sheila. That's it for me. Have a great weekend. I can't believe, again, tomorrow, last day in February, last day of celebration, last chance to grab those freebies that you want. So, make sure you get them before they're gone. And that is it. Have a great weekend, everyone. I will be back next week. And I haven't quite decided what we're going to be doing for March. That'll be this weekend's plan. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Bye.